intention of this workshop is really to provoke. My first slide on paper, which is this, the intention of this workshop, this talk is really to provoke our minds so that next time we are taking a trip and a travel, it ignites us to think on the things that we see during the travel and how that relate back. And we are going from somewhere to somewhere, point A to B, and we'll talk in more details about it, that what could be point A for us, what could be point B. This provocation for all of us. So to my mind, what comes in Agile Journey as a signboard is a signboard that talks about outcome or outputs. I can hold this little closer. So outcome or outputs, or a limit on work in progress. And this is very important because if we start an Agile journey and if we do not have the right guiding lights or the right signboards into our own mind, it is very likely that we will start running for speed, we will start running for more velocity, we will not have the intention to build value, we will not really have a focus on outcomes. It is very easy to look for more output and things. Similarly, work before starting a journey, knowing where we are currently is very important. So that was the next analogy, the starting point, the GPS into the trip to agility thing that I'm bringing in. Awesome.
So what she's saying is there's pit stops along the journey for a reason. You know, there's back breaks along the way.
And that's a powerful point. You know, shopping in a journey for a reason is not something that we do in general. In Agile, it is very much important that we take a break, we inspect, we reflect, we have some time for having some fun together, making joy a priority at work.
That actually builds that bond and, you know, rejuvenates the team as a powerful technique to get together and restart the journey with a good enthusiasm again. And
we go to some other place, we become a newly discovered, more mature group of individuals, group of teams, and we stay there. So that's the difference. A trip to agility is different in that sense.
Hello, everyone. So welcome to this session. So this is part of the Access Agile Festival that we are hosting. And Access Agile was born out of the Agile 2025 Festival. So we had the festival in Feb 2021 this year, where we celebrated 20 years of the Agile Manifesto. Now taking it forward, so we are here with the first Access Agile Festival, which is here to make agility accessible to everybody across the world. So as part of that, we are hosting this festival, and we have like almost 130 plus events throughout the world that are happening. Today is day 3, and I now would like to welcome Mahesh and Nagini to host the session for all of us. Over to you, Mahesh. Thank you.
Absolutely, Anurag. Thank you so much. So just a quick introduction, and maybe before the introduction, a very big thank you to Access Agile and to Nagini. And Nagini happens to be the ambassador here, and she introduced for this opportunity, and it was very wonderful to take. For this talk, we have been looking forward to make some experiments, really get away from the PPTs and usual way of presenting. We are going with handmade paper PPTs and stuff like that. But before we begin, maybe I'll take a pause. If Nagini want to add something, and then I can take it forward. And then at the end, there is an activity that is going to be hosted by Nagini, activity-based learning at the end. So maybe I'll take a pause and we'll hear from Nagini for a moment, and then I can continue.
Thank you, Mahesh. Just to add, what we are trying to do today is like, you know, we wanted to, what we always have this liking to see any analogy we make to the common things we have in life. So being in Agile, hearing out all these, terminologies and whatever frameworks or whatever we are using as buzzwords, I and Mahesh has come up with this idea to put it into a kind of an analogy of what we experience as a human being, and get some kind of meaning to what we have in our life as an experience when we travel in Agile as a journey. So we would make this session a little interesting with that analogies we have in place. And just to give you an introduction, I have been in Agile for the last 13, 14 years as an Agile coach, where I have started from a web designer to a normal developer, and then program manager, and then again went back to Scrum Master, product owner, and then again became a coach. Now I'm a senior Agile enterprise coach. So I have seen all the stages of how SAFe has evolved, or how Scrum has evolved in India, at least. And I have seen the ups and downs of organizations when they have started Agile transformation, and how they have failed, or how they have paused for some time until they got a solution of why they failed. So with that experience, and with the huge knowledge which Mahesh gets in, we tried to put some sense into the analogies we are bringing on today onto the table. With that, I would say, Mahesh, to kickstart our session. And thanks, Mauro and Andrea and Andre to be there with us. We will definitely make this session a little interactive as we go ahead. Mahesh, over to you now.
Intention of this workshop is really to provoke. My first slide on paper, which is this, the intention of this workshop, this talk is really to provoke our minds, so that next time we are taking a trip and a travel, it ignites us to think on the things that we see during the travel, and how that relates back to the way we have Agile journey and transformation. So that's the whole intent. And what we do by doing this is another thing, that we want to have an outside in perspective. We relate things which are outside, just not at the workplace. So apply agility not at the workplace, but at individual level, and at outside things that we see as well, so that we can lead inside out once we have those insights in our mind. That's the intent. So with this intent to provoke, my small question in the beginning to make this interactive: what all things we see when we take a trip? Let us assume that we are on a trip, a good family trip, and we are going somewhere. A quick list of things that we see on the go. Something we have, something we take along with us.
Me not being with my mind in the trip and being convinced that I forgot very many important things that I'm going to miss on the trip. That's the first thing.
Actually, as put as a snack.
Yeah, snack. We also, what do we really see when we are on trip? We see the roads, we see vehicles, and I'm just going in to what is coming to my.
We see signboards.
We see signboards, absolutely. We, in the very vehicle, in own car, we see gearboxes. We see Google Map around, which is directing us to take us somewhere. Steering wheel is another thing that we see. So having these things into the mind, now if we have to get into a discussion, say we are having an agile journey as a group or as an individual, and we are going from somewhere to somewhere, point A to B, and we'll talk in more details about it, that what could be point A for us, what could be point B. But before that, we'll talk about the signboards. We'll go one by one, each thing that we see, and we'll try to relate. So the
most importantly, Mahesh, I see smiling faces in the car when I start a trip on, with a family.
Absolutely.
The most important thing I see as a person in the car is the smiling faces and the enthusiasm, excitement in the car.
Absolutely, Ragini. And if we have to relate this back with the agile journey, when we say building a project around motivated individuals, I think that's the thing. We see smiling faces, we see enthusiasm. So if we as an agile leader, if we are able to build that momentum, that culture, when people are happy to take that trip, they are not really obliged to do that, but they have some self motivation to be agile, to do agile and make more out of it, to have comfort, to have smart buffer around what they're doing. That's the thing. So that was absolutely helpful call out, that we see happy faces, and that relates back to building projects around motivated individuals. So signboards, if we look at the signboards on a usual journey, we see many of them. But on an agile journey, if we look at the signboards, what I'm intending to share here is, to my mind, 2 signboards come to my mind, and we can talk about more that may come to our mind when we have this provocation for all of us. So to my mind, what comes in Agile Journey as a signboard is a signboard that talks about outcome or outputs. I can hold this little closer. So outcome or outputs, or a limit on work in progress. And this is very important because if we start an agile journey and if we do not have the right guiding lights or the right signboards into our own mind, it is very likely that we will start running for speed, we will start running for more velocity, we will not have the intention to build value, we will not really have a focus on outcomes. It is very easy to look for more output and things. Similarly, work in progress limit. If as an agile leader, if we know that making people enjoy a work in progress limit really allows them to have some creative space, allows them to do justice to their own capacity, and creates that space where we can improve, not just work, but we adhere to the work in progress limit that each one of us has, and we take some time to improvise and bring change to the place. So when it comes to the agile journey, the signboard part, I wanted to convey that on an agile journey, two of the prominent signboards that comes to my own mind when I was thinking are outcome or output and work in progress limit. At this point of time, if any thoughts are emerging into our mind, if any more signboards are coming, and if we are able to relate, please share. I'll take a pause.
Well, I agree with your signs. You know, you want to focus on outcomes and delivering on something and not just producing and not having value in what you're producing. And so, you know, it's a difference between being busy and being productive. And so when you follow your outcomes and not just outputs, you're being productive. And having the work in process limits, you are, like you said, you're allowing space for creativity. Because if you're busy and you always seeing just work, your mind doesn't have time to really wander and be creative, because it's just focused on getting the work done. And so that's two really good points that you already made. But the thing about it, you know, you also want to just be open to other possibilities. Like, don't just focus on what it is you have at hand, but also be self-aware and aware of what else is going on and how you could incorporate those things into what you are doing.
Absolutely.
So that'll spark more creativity.
Absolutely. In order to have an ability to inspect and adapt, we have to have some buffer in between what we do.
For me, another signboard I would love to see on my journey is a place to refresh or, you know, get that kind of you know, break in the journey. As you said, the inspect and adapt may be one of the things, but at every corner or whenever I feel that this is the time the people in my vehicle may get fatigued, I need a break. So if I see something like a pit stop or a restaurant or some place where I can actually have that interconnectivity within the team to spend that small break, that would actually rejuvenate the team. So for me as a person in the same car, I would like to have that little breaks where I can see those signboards and make everybody still be together and motivated for the further journey.
Awesome.
So what she's saying is there's pit stops along the journey for a reason. You know, there's bathroom breaks along the way.
And that's a powerful point. You know, shopping in a journey for a reason is not something that we do in general. In Agile, it is very much important that we take a break, we inspect, we reflect, we have some time for having some fun together, making joy a priority at work.
That actually builds that bond and, you know, rejuvenates the team as a powerful technique to get together and restart the journey with a good enthusiasm again. And you will have the double of the impact after you restart your journey. The reason why everybody takes a break may be different. Somebody may, you know, even when you are on a journey, somebody may require it for a bio break. Somebody may just have to go and take a puff or something like that. Or children may just want to stretch their legs and have some kind of a free space to just go around and come back again into that space. That is the reason why we have to think about that when we are trying to have a transformation journey.
Powerful point, Nagini. I think next time we are traveling and we are seeing the signboards, this should just take in the back of our mind that we have to have some prominent signboards into our own mind when we are having an agile transformation journey or an agile journey. The next thing, I'm turning my things toward map. So we use map. We see something like this from point A to B. Now, a journey in agile may not be really from point A to B. It could be really very much about inspecting and adapting and finding a different way, which might look like something like this, if
Right.
that is well visible. But sticking to this, I think point A and B, if we can just dig deeper into them, I think the point A in the way how EBM suggests, it points out at the current value where we are currently. That's a GPS. What we are doing currently, how that is creating a value. And B could be unrealized value where we want to go. And that could be something which is evolving, emergent thing, which is not fixed in the beginning. But if we focus on this, and if we say that an agile journey, the point where we are currently, to understand that is very important, to have that GPS, to build that conversation, that what is the current value that we have built, what is, if I can look through my notes, and it could be about talking to your customer and making note of their satisfaction scores, talking to your investors and making note of their happiness scores, or it could be understanding the product cost ratio, and more ways that we can think of, only with an intention to know where we are currently into our agile journey. Because before starting a journey, knowing where we are currently is very important. So that was the next analogy, the starting point, the GPS into the trip to agility thing that I'm bringing in. If we look at point B, and if we say that's unrealized value, then that is about maybe trying to know if there are any additional pieces of functionalities or things that we can introduce. Are we really willing to invest more money into that direction? Is it going to be helpful? So as a group of people, knowing where we are currently and potentially where do we want to go, inspecting and adapting on the way is very important. So in agile journey, that point A and point B, which is not really fixed. So in a usual journey, we start from place A and we know that we want to visit this place and we want to come back. Now in agile journey, that is very different. In agile, we start a journey to go somewhere which is emergent, that comes on the way, and we stay there. The agile journey is different because we start from one place, we go to some other place, we become a newly discovered, more mature group of individuals, group of teams, and we stay there. So that's the difference. A trip to agility is different in that sense. I'll take a pause to hear from us if there are any thoughts. Okay, we are getting thumbs up. We are good. I see one of my close friends, Siddesha, have joined. Siddesha, thank you for joining. We are just midway. We have just started, and we are relating back how we have a usual trip to a place and how the trip to agility is different. So I keep moving, and Siddesha, some of this part maybe we can cover in recording later. I'll keep moving. The next analogy that we have is this. We were talking about that maybe the journey from
Can
point.
you bring it a little more?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, Nagini. So we are at point A and we want to go somewhere, but that B or that next point is really not known in the beginning. We are still discovering that, and that is going to happen on the way. But we have a particular way to know the distance between those points, and that is time to market. So in a journey and a trip to agility, that is the third thing that I want to introduce and share, that knowing your time to market is equivalent to knowing the distance between where we are and where we want to go. When we know the distance between that, we can very well plan the journey. So, and particular company has an aspiration to become a company when they release very frequently every 2 weeks. But do they have processes in place that really support that activity? Do they have have they identified their time to learn? Have they identified their time to adapt, or have they identified how frequently they can take build in a software terminology? Because without knowing that, we cannot say that we will go and we will release every 2 weeks. That has to come out of a measurement. So that was the third analogy, when time to market is important, and that works as a distance between two places. And knowing that allows us to take a path, whether we go via this path or the other path. That is very critical. The next thing, and this is very interesting, I think many a times on a Google map, when we are traveling, we see a blocker somewhere that says, if you take this route, it is going to take you longer. Some construction work happening. And in an agile journey, that construction works is about sometimes when we have too many production incidents, too much of a technical debt, too many dependencies, and maybe sometimes too many applications to support for a given team. And then that becomes, and that looks something like this, when there are too many hurdles on that way. So we are willing to choose a way, but that way have got too many hurdles. And into a trip to agility, knowing that hurdle is very important. So either we will not take that path, we will discover other way, or we will actually work on to remove that hurdle, to remove that impediment, and then have that journey. In a usual journey, that is not possible. If there is a hurdle, we change our way. In a trip to agility, we have that power. If we know there is a hurdle, we can go, we can work together, we can self-organize around it, and we can move that impediments and hurdles out of our way.
Very
That
great
was-
comment from Maru.
Yeah.
He says instead of putting those 3 lines, you might have put a broken luggage or, kind of other diagrams there, which shows that impediments in a journey.
Yeah,
I mean, you could put both the hurdles, but also some other forms, because some things you have to carry around with you all through the journey. And as long as you don't take a hard decision to get rid of them, you don't move forward.
The baggage you carry, yeah.
Absolutely. So, Maru, you are very right. I think the intention of this workshop is really to provoke us to think of more ideas and more elements, what we see around, and then relate them back with our journey, so that we have that outside in perspective. So when we are really leading an agile transformation, we can lead that inside out.
Mm.
I'm really
And
happy that
even the breakdown of the vehicle is the biggest problem I can see as a hurdle for my journey. And that intense, I can actually put it into a way that the team is broken. There is no coherence in the team. They are not as working as a one team. They all have their own kind of interpersonal problems. So as a coach, that also is a kind of a breakdown of your vehicle for me.
absolutely, absolutely.
I didn't want to break your flow, Mahesh, but that's the first thing I thought about in the beginning. Before we did the output and outcome, I was thinking, what is my intention about this trip, and who's going to be on this trip with me? Do I really want to do this trip with them? I'd rather look for another group if I don't like these guys. I don't think this is going to be an enjoyable trip. That would be my very first thought. That would be number one, and number two is, where are we going with this trip? I think you covered that with the sheet before. I think it was 2 sheets before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kind of the North Star, if you want.
Right. And just what we actually correlated to the cross-functional team, we also want to see who all are coming along with us. What is that they bring on to the trip? Somebody might be a good entertainer who will put all the team into one good kind of, activity. Somebody might be good in taking a decision when you are stuck with some kind of an impediment. Somebody is good at organizing, the trip or directions with the map. So we take into consideration who are all joining us, what are all their specialities, and then we give the work to them. We don't say you have to take this. They take it. Like in Agile, what we do, we commit and we deliver. So
Absolutely,
if I know what I'm good at, maybe I will go and contribute to that in a trip where we are all going to do kind of a pleasure trip.
Absolutely.
Because we are all pumped up and wanted to spend some time with each other.
Yes, absolutely. This is a moment. Yeah, this is a moment I think we are looking from an outside in perspective at cross-functional teams. We are looking at self-management, and we are also looking at psychological safety. When we said that whether we want to travel with this group or not, in Agile, that formation is different. We get a set of people who we are going to work with, and there comes the psychological safety that we can build on the way. It may not exist in the beginning, but if we build on that on the way, we will have a group of people that we really enjoy having a trip together. So absolutely a powerful point. And again, outside in perspectives, looking at a usual trip and a trip to agility. So that's happening in a great way. I have only 2 more points to make. I will make sure that are equally interesting to all of us. So before making those 2 points, the conclusion of the section that we have been looking at, the maps and the distances and the hurdles, I think the trip to agility, to my mind, it looks like something like this. It is really not from point A to B, but it is about having those areas to improve and making some progression in them. And each team will have their own unique DNA. Some teams may be doing better in one area, but not in other, but that still works for them. That is their own unique DNA. But at the end of the day, it should be our intention to know that area and to have some efforts to keep growing in that area. So if we draw that for a particular team, for one team, it might really look different than the other. But my intention was to say that the map of agile journey and trip to agility, it is really not a usual map, but it is a circular thing where we have spheres and we are progressing in certain portions, and certain portions we are already very strong, and we keep identifying and keep improving in the areas that we want to be better at. Again, inspection and adoption.
And yeah, that's correct.
Now the next thing that we see in our journey, the gearbox. And this was very interesting. And this is something that tells me that as an agile leader, we have an organization to lead towards agility. And we have to have that understanding that there exists a matrix bifurcation of the areas that we can intervene. Sometimes a company or a group of people are doing very well in certain area, but not in other. So as an agile leader, we have to have that that lens to understand that there exists an area where we want to go and improve. So the gearbox in agile, in a usual trip, we keep on making sure that the gear is fitting the condition of the road and the speed that we are running in at the moment. In a very similar way, when we are taking a trip to agility, we have to adapt to situations, and the gear should be matching the current scenario, the current situation. And how do we really do that? I'm relating this back to Ken Wilber's integral theory. I find that very powerful because it gives me this perspective. It tells me that in a given organization, some of the things are internal to people, internal to group of people. Some of the things are external. They are how they respond to the situation as an individual, how an individual responds, or how a group of people respond. It is about that. And it is very interesting if we take a look at it one by one. So I'll take a help of another set of notes that I have got to make it interesting for us. So I'll focus on the I part, which is here. And if you fold this, it is very much, I should do it like this. This is very much an individual part. This is very much an individual part when it is about I or it. And that is to say, maybe as an individual, what are my emotions? What is my purpose? What are my values? What do I really hear? It is really about not listening, but what do I perceive when somebody is saying something? So if we notice that in an organization, there is some kind of lag in how people, an individual perceives agility or the ways of working or how people come together, then that's the area to intervene. Knowing that area allows us to say that, okay, we will be working on this area and maybe we'll employ some technique, some tool that allows us to have some activities to let people know that how do we really sense the thing before even we respond to the situation, how do we really sense those things. So that is one area. If we shift to the collective part of this, that is about the we part and the its part. And here in the collective part, it is all about core values as a group, not as an individual. Sometimes a team might have their own values, they work in a certain fashion. Uh, they might have their own group dynamics. So all those areas comes under the collective part of this thing. And as an agile leader, if we are aware that this particular group of people individually, they are very strong, they have got very good strong values, but when it comes to responding as a group, when it comes to looking at a situation and taking an act on it proactively or reactively, that kind of a thing, then the leader can intervene and they can make sure they can put up activities, workshops, conversation. It could be one-on-one, it could be a group setting, to make sure that we are, as a group, we are sensing better and we are responding better. So my intention is that maybe we take some time out and we read more about the integral theory, because I personally find it very powerful. And to me, it works like a gearbox. When we are leading a vehicle, we are driving a vehicle with a group of folks, and at a particular instance and a situation, which action to take and which is the area to intervene, to have that clear cut understanding, the integral theory, I find it very powerful. So this could be a very starting and initial note, but my intention is really to provoke our mind to think in that direction, and to have that lens that we identify areas to intervene, and then we put some efforts, and then we know that what is the goal, why am I doing something, and what is my intent of doing that. So intentful actions and integral theory to back that. I take a pause if there are any questions or any thoughts that emerged while this was happening. Okay, I take it as a keep moving ahead. So the last part, we see the steering, as Nagini called us in the beginning, and that's very interesting. We, as an agile leader, we are supposed to drive the vehicle, and we are driving the set of people, and we are moving towards being more agile. The steering wheel, what does it really tell us? If we look at this image, it has got a small icon in the middle, that is V, and to me that stands for values. For steering a people towards something, we really have to have a core set of values, and we have to use them as a guiding light in different situations. We have to make sure that we are inspiring people towards those values, and even before we do that, we have to make sure that we understand what are our common values. For example, respect in one of the Scrum value, that might really look different from people to people. So to establish that common ground and to push people that what really a particular value means, that is an beginning of an exercise. And I can give an example. When we look at commitment, sometimes people feel that commitment is of sort, that we commit to something and then we have to do that, and that is not the case. Commitment tells us that I commit to putting in my best efforts, not really the result is really emergent. We are in an agile way of working, and we have to keep that in mind all the time. It is not really about committing to something and doing it any which way is possible. So setting up some ground with the team to have those values identified, and then steering the wheel towards those values is very important. Some of the examples, maybe if I can quote, is that in a particular working session, if somebody says that I think we are going in a direction where it is not leading us anywhere. So as a Scrum Master or as an agile leader, if we can say that, yes, thank you for bringing in back to the focus, I think that is one of the way where we start to celebrate the values that people are showcasing. And while driving this vehicle and taking a trip to agility, it is very important to always be on top of the values that we are demonstrating, making sure they are getting celebrated, they are getting acknowledged, and that goes a long way for me. So a quick analogy for us, maybe when we are looking at steering something towards something next time, having a focus on values celebrating them, acknowledging them, that goes a long way. I have more examples, but I'll take a pause. Maybe we can hear from more folks if they have any thoughts emerging out of the value steering wheel.
So Mahesh, I did not originally think of values. I thought Volkswagen.
See, for me, the V was not only the values, but also the brand you are getting in. You know, you have to give that connectedness to the people who are
So
traveling.
that's a good analogy that you put in there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because when you are establishing a connect with the team which is running with you or which is there with you on the journey, all of you have to feel that connectedness and that commitment towards the brand. Not only that value system is part of your company organization, and as a leader you are going to take it through the teams from top down. That is one of the things which I liked about that V. But also my intention of having that as a steering wheel in the hands of a agile leader is people are dependent on you. You have so many lives in the vehicle which are dependent on you when you are traveling. So the way that the person who's traveling has to have the clarity about the journey, the reflexes he has to have to control the whole vehicle, and the trust he has to satisfy from all the people who are along with him is the paramount. So a person who's given the steering wheel has to understand the mood or the thing which is happening in the back of him, though he is not looking at them. That is the catch there for me. You may not be there in their team daily, you don't have a call with them, but you have to be part of the team as a person at the steering wheel is doing it. He is there, but he is not there. He understands people even without them, even without he seeing them. No eye-to-eye contact may not be there, but he has his own ways of understanding what is going on in the vehicle, and depending on that he can take a decision whether to stop for a pit stop or whether to just go ahead and give them a good next hurdle or whatever it is in the journey. So what I would say is that is the important message in this session I wanted to convey is, as a leader, you are the person who has to be agile. Without you being agile, the organization won't move forward in agile. And you don't need to be really looking at them every time like micromanaging, but you have to know their pulse. If you feel like all are, they are all exhausted, they can't, continue the journey, it is you who has to take a decision and take that small stop and re-motivate them or re-engage them into that journey. Bring them back, tie them together and all these things. If you are going out, just for an example, you are going to take a break as a driver, you have to have a secondary person who can replace you. That readiness you have to have as an organizational agile leader. And that is what I feel is very important for any organization to come up with the strategy. How will it run? Even if I am not there tomorrow as a leader here, the journey must not stop. Right?
Absolutely.
And then all the gearboxes, maps, and other things are my tools to run that journey as a leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
These tools may go wrong, but not the leader. Right? I mean, that is what I see as an analogy here.
Yeah. And the analogy of brand, that was also very powerful, because the kind of values a particular team has, that really is their brand.
Correct. And when you are talking as a leader, what you convey to the team exactly builds what they are expected to do. You are talking something, you are doing something, people will not align with you. And when you approach them and you feel like he has told us something and he's not actually as per what he is asking us to do, it's not the walk, whatever you say, walk the talk is not happening. Nobody believes you as a leader.
Absolutely.
Right? See, I don't have a driving license and I'm sitting in the driving seat. Nobody will come with me on that journey.
Yeah.
Right?
Another.
I have to first establish that I'm a proven driver. I have the skill to drive the vehicle. Then only people trust and come on to that vehicle.
Absolutely.
Not only the steering wheel, but also the skill. That's what I meant. You have to prove yourself to make people to come and trust you and sit with you in your journey. So this is very important as an agile leader. And if you just tell this to any leader that you have the steering of your organization, people are following you just with the blind spot, that you know how to drive them, that will actually set the mindset for the leaders as well. Then comes agile, then comes this whatever framework you wanted to use. It is a Scrum or Safe or whatever it is. This is a secondary thing. But then you have to know the clear understanding of what is the journey, what is your goal, where are you taking the people, are they trusting you, where is that gap you have to fill to make them follow you, and you're all following the same route, which is good for the organization, are very important.
Absolutely. Trust plays a vital role, and maybe even before anything, the trust has to be established, and then on top of it, a lot of things can happen.
One thing I wanted to bring all of your attention to this journey and the trip to agility is like, as Mahesh was mentioning in the beginning, and Maru was also adding on top of that, like if you don't know why you have all jumped onto that vehicle, where are you all going, and what is that you are going to achieve after you embark on this journey, there is no meaning of going ahead with that journey. So establish those the kind of initial base knowledge of what is the importance of the journey, where are you all traveling together, what happens if it is broken somewhere, is there a backup plan for us, or something like that. You may not know what is exactly going to be at the point B, what will be the hurdles coming up. As we know, in agile we only take a very short iteration or a sprint kind of a thing, but for that sprint we have to be prepared. Whatever we wanted to achieve in that 2 weeks of a sprint, we have to have no assumptions on that. You can't assume that the Google map was showing like this, so we are coming here. We at least have to have that kind of clarity, like in this there's 2 miles, this is going to be my journey. There may be impediments. I don't say in these 2 weeks you don't have impediments, but then all of us can work out and come out of it if we have unforeseen things. But then for starting the 2 miles journey, we all have to be on the same understanding. Correct?
Absolutely.
So with that, I would recommend all of you to add your analogies if you see anything to what Mahesh and I were trying to tell you on the trip to agility.
Yeah, I can add a couple of points, Siddesh here. Right. Agile, in fact, the Scrum framework is built on the assumption that path is uncertain and path is not clearly defined. That's why Scrum is much more powerful for the projects which are there in the complicated domain or complex domain, right? Yeah. So it is even clear. It's certain that like even if you plan to go to some place, right? We don't plan the entire journey. Right, we'll just plan for the landmarks. This is where I will be after this much of time, right? And even the Scrum framework has agile leaders such as product owner and Scrum master, where the product owner is not a technical expert, he's a business expert, right? He'll just sets the vision. This is where I want to be after 15 days or like after a month, right? And it is left to the engineering team, like which path they want to take. Right, that way it completely empowers the squad or the agile team, right? And as a Scrum master, as a product owner, we are more of leaders who serve them to choose the best path and to give them the options. Like if you choose this path, these are the alternatives available, right? So it's ultimately to the squad members to which path to take, so that the ownership is with the team. They will find the best solution or best alternatives if we have given the choices. And on the impediments part, right, impediments are not as bad as they look in the initial site, right? So they are the one which actually unites the team. If a member of the squad faces some impediment, the other team members comes to help him. That will help them to demonstrate the value. Values are something not able to showcase unless otherwise there
The
are
situation
situations
arises.
that demands the value, right? So same thing. Well, we have only 4 values, but unless otherwise 4 to 5 values, unless otherwise there is a demand, the team members will not be able to demonstrate them. Those are my couple of my thoughts.
Excellent, excellent, Siddesh. That is right. So as you said, situations bring the team together. I agree with that. And it builds that emotional connect within the team. Because unless challenged, nobody will really think of all these things. You know, you are just working and coming and delivering and going. So that is where we have a lot of things called as team building activities, or, you know, even if you don't have hurdles, you wanted to have that kind of emotional bonding or that kind of connectivity within the team. That's where anybody who is a scrum master understands this, or a coach understands this, that there has to be something created or inserted into the team activities so that you build that kind of a team connectedness. And that actually takes your team a long way, because not only delivering, but also having that rapport within the team to really get connected emotionally takes you as a, you know, normal team to a high performing team after some time. You understand without actually telling each other that there is a problem with this guy, or you understand without even informing that they are stuck somewhere, they need a helping hand. That all happens very slowly, but it develops as you are working as a team, going, you know, in the same route for some time. You understand each other, you try to support each other, and all these things happen. And I really appreciate that you have brought in that point of connectedness in the team. Thank you for that. Anybody else wanted to share anything? Anurag, you have something to add?
No, I think some very different and insightful thoughts that Mahesh has presented. So that is why I wrote it is a wonderful session, and we need to make sure that this goes out to many other people in the world.
Right. Mhm.
I'll say present. Okay. Is it on full screen right now?
Yes.
Awesome. The stage is all yours, Nagini. We can.
So
get
guys,
folks
what
to-
we have done is, this is something we have come up with, and we are calling it as agile meditation or mindfulness in agile. So can we all get into a position where we all feel relaxed? Maybe are you on a chair? Just relax your limbs and hands, or, you know, just try to read these sentences along with me. Like the first sentence is, sometimes just listening actively is more appropriate than employing a technique. Can we all have this as a sentence in our mind? Sometimes just listening actively is more appropriate than employing a technique. What really we mean by that is, we will look into the meanings after 5 minutes, but we'll just do this as a meditation kind of a thing. Kind of sometimes just listening actively is more appropriate than employing a technique. I enjoy being a person who believes in potential of people. I prefer to make slow progress than no progress. Sometimes it's okay that I don't know the answer. I accumulate wisdom through humility. I know making mistakes is natural, byproduct of making decision. So with that, this is what we actually has come up with. And the beauty of this says, you know, these 6 sentences is like, you know, you just have this as your own agile values when you are working in an agile team, and put it as a sticky on your, you know, the place where you are working out, your workplace. See the difference, what you feel whenever you are into stress or something like that. The immediate interaction, once you have these lines in your mind and just do that kind of a meditation, is so good that, you know, you really connect with each of these sentences. There is nothing new in that. Sometimes even if you don't employ a technique, but you just give your 100% to listening to the other person and empathize with them, it is going to do miracles with that person. You don't need to really give them a solution, but that sense of listening out to them actively will give them that kind of a relief of their pressure. Enjoy being a person who believes in the potential of people is like the collective wisdom of the team is going to play a vital role there. You also prefer to make slow progress than no progress. So instead of just sitting idle, you are trying to do something, and progressing is a very good thing. Sometimes it's okay that I don't know the answer. You are not an expert in all the things in the world. I accumulate wisdom through humility. Just be accepting to whatever is there in your hands, and then you start understanding things in a positive way, and that itself builds a wisdom to you. I know making mistakes is a natural byproduct of making decisions. If you make decisions, then only you will be seeing there are sometimes some mistakes. If you don't make any decisions, there is nothing to do. You are stagnant there. It is just like a dead log for me. So these are some powerful statements which have come out with the understanding of what really makes me be agile, right? And the most important analogy we have when we are discussing about agile journey was, you don't know how the whole staircase looks like, but if you take the first step, then you are on the way towards the staircase. You may have hurdles, you may come across some kind of problems while you are taking the stair, but that will be passing on very fast. As Maru was saying, like there is no joy without having hurdles, and once you have the hurdle and you cross it, then you feel that we are all doing the same work and we are all going towards the same journey. So with that, what we wanted to do is, this is what we had to share with you all today. Mahesh, I think we are good to wrap up. If you want to add anything, and then open for some discussions.
Absolutely, Nagini. This exercise was really powerful. I also did it on the go while Nagini was taking us through that. I find a lot of power when we have that agile mindset, and when we're okay with unknowns, and when we're okay with not making a complete progress, but a small amount of movement on the go towards the direction that we want to go. So I really do not have much on that exercise. If we keep doing that, keep reiterating that, I have myself seen a lot of great benefit of that. And that is to say, really, that this is an evolving journey where we keep inspecting, keep adapting. We know the right interventions area, and right now that we have an outside in perspective, we are in a better shape and in a provoked mind that we can relate things with how we see them into the workplace, and we will be better ready to apply the leadership inside out, having those insights coming from nature and outside and the usual trip. With that, if we have any questions, we are good to take.
I just wanted to add one thing, that the list of things we have in that agile mindfulness meditation is nothing very creative. We just got it on the fly, like, these are the things we have to remember when we want to be agile. I'm not saying these are the only 5-6 lines. Anybody can create their own kind of, sentences and make it as a reminder every day when they see at their workplace. And that is actually going to create wonders. Because you are actually trying to align with those values for yourself, and you are the captain of your ship, as they say. It's in your hands. What do you want to do with that steering wheel? Right? Sometimes you may get diverted from your goals, but how do you realign to that goal is the most important thing. My experience or my understanding in the life as of now is like, these kind of reminders keep you on track. Align yourself when you are getting diverted, and you just get back and be on the same journey. So anybody wants to add anything? Andrea, how was that? Thanks for being.
Enjoy every minute of it. And I was just brought to tears almost when you put up the slide about having the staircase to just making the next step, because that's how I feel with my agile journey. Like I'm new to this. A person's saying that I've been doing this for 20 plus years, but I'm new to agile in this journey. And I have to keep reminding myself on a daily basis is just do the next step. Take the next step. Like, don't look at the whole staircase and where you're trying to go with this. Just do the next thing. And it keeps progress going. And so I was like wiping my tears when I saw that, because I'm like, okay, this is it. You know, I needed that reminder. So I thoroughly enjoyed the whole presentation, and you know, it was very well done. And thank you so much. And I'm glad that I woke up at 5.
Thank you. Actually, I wanted to appreciate your interest and be there with us in this early hours for you. Sidesh, you have anything to add before we wind up?
Yeah, that one more sentence, like as you have some meditation lines, right? I do have like a couple of points, like even our Fidelity is having their own leadership principles, right? One of which says like pace over perfection, right? Don't wait for the perfect situation, but which may not at all come, so you'll not be able to start, right? That's one point. And the second one is the opposite of success is not failure, it's mediocrity, right? It's in our culture that failure is taken as opposite of success, so there is always hesitation to take that first step. But if we don't put the first step, we lose the sea of mediocrity. That is what we need to fear rather than a failure.
Absolutely agree with that.
Yeah. And the thing about it with that, what he just said is that the fear of failure causes persons to not take the next step. So once you could overcome that fear, and you know, we all have the fear. Everybody has that initial fear, but then you have to be able to convert that fear into a different emotion. So let it be like an adrenaline boost and let it push you, you know, instead of holding you back, use it as a motivation tool to push you forward instead of using that fear to cripple you, because fear is crippling. So, you know, that's really powerful in itself.
Thank you, Andrea. Abhinav, I see you on this list. You have to add anything? We want to hear you. You've been silent.
Yeah, good afternoon. I was having lunch, and that's the reason I was on mute. But a great session. Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you, Nagini. And I also missed the first 5-10 minutes because I had just come back home. I was riding my bicycle, but it was a great session. And I completely agree that failure is not the opposite of success. I do not have to imagine or know the complete pathway before taking the first step. That one thing that's the biggest takeaway for me from this session. So I would, if the recording is published, I would like to go through it and and make further observations. But overall, a wonderful learning session for me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhinav. So Abhinav, all the sessions, 130 plus sessions, are going to be available in the YouTube University.
Okay.
You will get a message from Axis Agile on the LinkedIn whenever that is ready. We are trying to get from almost all the speakers who have been there in these 3 days of our journey. You will have lots of learning after this event also forever.
Sure. Very nice to hear that, Nagini. And I think I'm connected with you on LinkedIn. So I will reach out to you if I need any help. So, but amazing session today. Great learning.
Thank you. I think good, Mahesh. We had this, participation from our very own Andrea and Anurag also today. Of course, Sidesh and Anubhav are also there here. Abhinav are also there here. So what I would say is, in case you have anything to, add, once Mahesh puts this post on LinkedIn that we had this wonderful session today with all of you supporting us, please do post your comments in that, and we can be on the same page.
Absolutely, folks. As a quick feedback, that will be very great to know and to read through. And maybe when we reiterate through the same workshop, maybe next time we will try to incorporate new ideas and make it even more engaging for folks. And I'm really happy that the kind of things we were trying from last few weeks, Nagini and me, that have resulted into some happiness and people have found it useful. So that is a great feeling.
Andrea, anytime you want to have any of the agile sessions, just give a ping to Mahesh Army. We are there to help you.
Thank you so much. I did some screenshots So I will be using some of those slides.
Sure. Thank you, guys. Have a great day and great learning ahead. So many sessions still there. Another half day of events. Be learning, and we'll see somewhere again in another session very soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great presentation, Mahesh.
Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm ending the session. Thank you all for joining us.
Bye.